Hi, my name is Coffee Brown, and this channel is Coffee Spills the Tea. Now, it has been a while since I have done any kind of videos. I have been extremely busy, um, and I'm just giving a quick update because I have made some changes and kind of changed the way I was thinking. So before I go any farther, just please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and share this with other people. And then you can always hit that notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will get that notification as well. So back to what I have been doing. So I think I've been talking with everybody about emigrating, getting out of here, moving out overseas. But it takes a lot to be able to get to that point where you can move overseas. It's very seldom where you can just say, I'm moving overseas, and then a week later, you're overseas. It takes a lot of planning. And so at some point, I had to do quite a bit of planning. So, um, number one, you have to decide where you're going to go. Number two, you have to then decide how you're going to do it. Then number three, it's like you're going to have to say to yourself, how do I get the income to be able to do this? Because it's scary, right? You're living in the United States one day, and then, months later, you're in another country, probably where people don't speak or you don't speak their language, and you are on your own. You are truly on your own. And so I have been kind of wrestling with those top three things. So, number one, where am I going to go? I have been hell bent on going to Italy, and that has been my focus. And I've been thinking about going to Italy for years. And that's the way it's been. But, and I'm going to advise people for the country that you want to go to, please do the full and thorough research on that country because they're going to have requirements that you need to meet in order to get the visa. For me, I felt that Italy over time, and I really had to pull myself to this way of thinking, I really felt like I don't know if I can meet these requirements or even keep these requirements. Because once you get there, you have to be able to annually renew your visa until you get to the point where you can say, I now want to go for permanent residency. I now want to go for citizenship, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're going to do that, or if you're looking at planning it that way, you have to say to yourself, can I meet that? For me, I was just like, I don't think I can meet those requirements. Or it's going to be a struggle, or I'm always going to be afraid. And I don't want to be in a country where I have to be afraid that every year I don't meet that minimum like income level or whatever. Now, with Italy, like for however much, and of course, let me just put this in here. With the dollar devaluing and with the dollar sliding down, that means that the amount of euros you have to meet, it's going to be harder to beat. My income isn't changing with the euro going down. The euro's gone down or the dollar's gone down like 15%. So that means that whatever they ask for, I now have to add an additional 15% of that in US dollars to meet it. I don't know if things are going to go even worse. And a lot of countries are saying like we're gonna start boycotting the US, the dollar is gonna go down even more. I don't know. I just can't meet those requirements. And it kind of threw me into a funk for quite a while as I'm trying to figure these things out. Italy is out for now. Now, and I'll kind of swing back to that at some point and explain why it's for now, not forever, but for now. So I said, I got to look at other countries. So I had broken down in a previous video, like how you can go into, like, say, Central America, Mexico, South America, like, what are the requirements for that? I really want to get European citizenship. So there's an option where you can spend 2 years in a South American or Central American or North American, like, basically Mexico, 2 to 3 years there, get citizenship, and then move to Spain. And then you spend 2 more years in Spain, meet the Spain requirements, which includes language tests and culture tests and like knowing their history and whatever. And you can end up getting Spanish citizenship as well. So in 5 years, you could, I would say 5 to 6 years, because once you apply for citizenship, there's still a period of time where they have to approve it. And you got to take the test, do the interviews, whatever. 5 to 6 years, you can potentially walk away with 2 more passports, one to a South American or Central American or Mexico citizenship, and then another passport for European Union. These countries allow you to have multiple passports from different countries. So some countries will make you renounce your citizenship in order to get their citizenship. Those are not for me on the table. I want to keep my US citizenship. I just would like to have a second one so that I have a place to be. And then, I have the best of both worlds. So I looked at that and I said to myself, my thing is that I've got dogs and I've got, friends and family that want to come visit. I don't want to jump from country to country. I'm not at that age anymore where I can do that. When I was in my 20s or whatever, sure, I would have done that and been done, got 3, 4, 5 citizenships by now. And I probably should have at the time because I was traveling and jumping around so much. It would have probably been a really opportune time to go and get Australia at the time, which I was thinking, then coming back and doing Italy, and then maybe going into South America and getting that, and then getting a permanent residency somewhere in Asia. That would have been something I could have done when I was doing all that jumping. But, it's one of those shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And I don't look back. I had those experiences. They're over. I've learned, I've grown, and now I can help other people that maybe want to do it. Anyway, I can't do that. I just cannot just jump and jump and jump. I want to be someplace and actually be someplace. Learn about the place, be part of the culture, learn about the culture, learn the language. No, no, no. So then the next thing I was looking at is like, are there other countries that I can go to? One of the things I wanted to think about was the fact that, if you live in the United States, you are seeing these crazy people running around with masks, snatching people out of cars, snatching people as they're driving past on their scooters, snatching people when they're going to pick up their kids because they're saying you're illegal. Why are they illegal? Because of the color of their skin? I don't know. I'm not here to talk politics. I'm just telling you, I'm seeing this. Do I want to be in a country, not the United States, but if I pick another country and I'm there and suddenly they have some kind of new Trumponian person come in and then they turn around and say, hey, you're not a citizen. Just because you breathe and blink, you are now illegal. And we're going to just like kick you out. We're going to just like, doesn't matter if my dogs are there. I could be walking my dogs. They're going to come snatch me off the street. Next thing you know, I'm on a plane. My dogs are still in the whatever country I'm in, and I'm sitting here sobbing and crying. I really don't care about anything. I want my dogs. Like, something like I just can't go through that. Like mentally, I'm just breaking. And so I was just like, okay. And that's part of the reason why Italy off the list. It takes 10 years for you to be able to get citizenship. And I don't want to be sitting in Italy for 10 years waiting with bated breath and hoping that I don't get kicked out for some reason or another. Not a law-breaking person. I'm law-abiding. However, like that hasn't stopped anything from happening here to people who are here who are law-abiding, but yet in the country, and not just people who are like undocumented, but documented people. I can't live like that. Italy's off. So I'm looking at that. I'm thinking, okay, Spain could still be on the list if I'm willing to jump, because Spain is 2 years plus 2 years, minimum 2 years. And those other countries, go back to one of my earlier videos where I talked about like how you could go to Mexico, Central America, South America, and you can get permanent residency and or citizenship in a very quick time, 2 to 3 years, depending on the country and you meeting their requirements. Go back and look at that. Once you get citizenship in those countries, then you can go to Spain. And again, 2 years and pass their tests, you have two passports in 5 to 6 years, you are done. You are now European, your union citizen. You can travel all over Europe with no problems whatsoever. In and out, in and out, in and out. Life is good. Now, um, again, Italy's off the board. I'm looking at countries that are 5 years. So I'm looking at places like Ireland. I'm looking at places like Malta. I'm looking at places like sorry, France. I'm looking at places like did I say Luxembourg? I did say Luxembourg. Sweden, Netherlands. I'm looking at places like that. Some countries I'm just knocking out because if it's cold during winter months, like Sweden, off the board. I mean, and I have been to Sweden many times, love Sweden, love, 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 love them. I have friends there. I've always been able to make friends. It's the country I went to when I first drunk dialed or drunk texted from Sweden back to the United States. I don't even know who I drunk dialed or drunk texted. I drunk texted somebody at a McDonald's after me and my friends went to a bar, like had a lot to drink and dance on top of like tables and whatever. It was just awesome. I love Sweden. They know how to party. But so having said that, like, yeah, I should think that Sweden would be my first choice. But I have been there in the wintertime. And the first time I went to Sweden and in the wintertime, and I like walked with my friends, I literally was like crying. I was crying. I was just like, I can't do that. Knocked out Sweden, knocked out the Netherlands. I was like, could I live in Ireland? And I looked at Ireland for a hot minute, but I don't know if I can handle the weather. And quite frankly, I'm not sure if I can handle the food. So, sidebar, like I have been working on my diet. Hopefully you have seen me. I slimmed down just a little bit. I've lost 15.4 pounds since I started working out and exercising, and I got a long way to go, very long way to go, but I feel much better about myself. I could go to Ireland and stick to that diet, no problem. I don't think I'm gonna really like the food. I love the music of Ireland. And my sister went there and she was like, yeah, I went to like a place that has our same last name. And apparently, like, we could be part Irish. I was like, wonderful, but I don't want to go to Ireland. So I'm knocking that off the list. I just it's not resonating with me. I looked at Luxembourg, I looked at Malta, I looked at Belgium, and I was just like, I'm not feeling this. Like, ugh. Like Malta, I thought for a hot second, but then I looked and I was like, one thing about islands that I have learned is it can get expensive. If they have to import things, it gets expensive. And if it's something where a lot of people like to go, then it's expensive. Because, tourism. I can't do that. So I knocked Malta off the list. And I went to the Reddit forum where a lot of people were from Malta and they just sounded miserable. And I was just like, I can't do that. Luxembourg, I was just like, it's a small country, it's a nice country, but it's also a country of wealth. And I'm like, I don't have wealth. So I'm gonna knock that one off the list. I looked at Portugal and I was extremely seriously considering Portugal. I was hell bent, and there's still a possibility of Portugal. Um, but Portugal right now is 5 years of citizenship. Plus on top of that, like the language requirements are not like you just have to get like enough, like how do you do and where do you go and how do you do that? It's very conversational. Like the language requirements are not high. Apparently, there's like different levels of languages, like A1, A2, then B1, B2, then C1, C2, whatever. And the higher up the alphabet you're going, the more fluency they're requiring of you. And so I think it's like they want like A2 or something like that. And I was like, I could do that. My issue with them is that they've gotten, they have like a whole parliament or something. And there's like a party in parliament that came into power suddenly and was like, we just don't like immigrants. We're gonna like just snip up the requirements. We're gonna change it around. We're gonna require that you have to learn like much higher like level of language, and we're gonna require that you have to have 10 years of citizenship and blah blah blah. And like it's just going back and forth and through Congress. Plus, they have a terrible time right now with immigration. They're one of the countries that's running around with, tourists go home signs, like Spain is too, and everything. And I said to myself, I can't be part of that. Um, like the people who are there are hating it. I mean, not hating it, but unhappy. I mean, the locals, they're unhappy because people are immigrating in, and I'm understanding it, and they're causing the cost of living to go up. But yet, for them, the cost of living, like what they get paid, is not going up and matching that increase in cost of living. I have to be a responsible person. I can't contribute to these people not being able to afford to live. And so I said to myself, I will, for now, I'm just going to scratch out Portugal. So I'm kind of like trying to figure out, where do I want to go? France came across my screen. I don't even know how. And I started reading about France, and I started reading about their constitution. I started reading about their social services, and their healthcare. And I looked at the country, and I said to myself, okay, now it's 5 years of citizenship for them. You must learn the language, and you need to be fluent. That there's just no getting around it. I think they require at least a B1 or a B2. I don't know. Um, and I'm very intimidated by the idea of learning French. And these are the people that will, like, if you don't do things the right way when you're approaching someone in a social situation, they just seem very standoffish and very uppity. Um, and so I can understand, and I understand why that might seem that way to us as Americans, like how it could seem that way. Um, and I said to myself, okay, so I'm feeling a little trepidatious about the language. However, here's what I'm going to tell you. I went to my local library, and my local library has like full courses uh, in French. And like, I was like, okay, I'll just check out a course. But it turns out that I think France is going to be my shtick. It's going to be where I'm going to end up. I'm going in October. If all things go well for me, I will be going in October for a scouting trip to look for a place to live and then applying. And you can only apply 90 days in advance. Because I have my dogs, I also have to do a health check for them with a European vet at where my vet is, and then send that in within 10 days of my flight. And there's a whole going on with that I'll have to talk about later, like what to do when you have your pets and you're bringing your pets. Um, but when it all comes down to it, I could meet the requirements of being of applying to France. I can meet those visa requirements. Do I want to go as a student? You can do that. You can come in as a student and say, I want to go to French school, cooking school. I want to go to French language school. I want to go to school, whatever. But as a student, you can come in as a student and then renew every year. And after 5 years, you can go for citizenship. I'm not going to be a student. I have been a student way too long. Coffee has been in school for a lot of life, and coffee's done with school, period, with a T. Okay. Um, I have been thinking about coming in as an entrepreneur. Now, when you come in, they do not want you to come in as okay, this dog is crazy. They do not want you to come in with a digital nomad visa. You can't come in and be like, and a lot of countries offer it. France does not. When you come in and you are working in France, you will be paying French taxes. Now, you got to consult with a lawyer and they can talk with you about how that works out with US, because there is a treaty on taxes to prevent double taxation, but you have to work that out with with a tax accountant and or attorney. I'm probably going to have to get both, but you're going to be paying up to 30% of what you make to France. I'm going to tell you right now, and because I was very apprehensive about this, but at the same time, if you work in France for a minimum of 10 years, then at the end of 10 years, they have a social security system just like the United States where you can start to pull from that. You can retire and pull from that. And I believe it's like something like 760, let's just say round it up, about 760 euros per month, which is about what, about 800 and like 90 US dollars or something. And that's in addition to whatever you pull in Social Security as a United States citizen. So if I'm able to pull, say, $900 a month from my Social Security, and then another like $800 from my like retirement from France, I've got, 1700 US, or about 1700 US that I can work with, right? Great. Now, minimum income for France, which is what you need to beat, is something around the lines of like 12,000 euro per year. They don't really have a really high like income requirement. People aren't making a lot here. So I'm not saying like, hey, then if you come over, you're rich and whatever. Please don't act like that. What that means is that if you're struggling with like income, and like I'm not a high earner, and I need to go someplace where they're not going to penalize me for being a high earner, then France could be an option for you as well. You will have to learn the language, because once you leave Paris, and Paris is expensive, and you're moving into the countryside or other cities, the cost will go down, but you're still going to have to um but the language requirements are going to go up, because not as many people will speak English outside of Paris. So you're going to have to learn. So there's no getting around it. You can't just go there and just be like, eh. The only exception to that are people who are 65 or older. France has waived the requirements for anyone 65 or older to have to learn the language. Now, a lot of people that I have like watched their videos for that are over 65 are still learning the language, because they have learned that you can't just move to some country and not know how to interact with people. You're not going to have friends. You're not going to be able to go to the store and do very much. You're not going to be able to go to the markets and do very much. It just doesn't make sense. So you should learn the language. And if you are trying to be part of this new country and be a citizen of this country, whether it be France, Portugal, Italy, Sweden, Spain, wherever, you need to learn the language. Don't be all like, why don't you speak English? Because they're not in the United States. You are going to their country, and you are looking to integrate into their country and their culture. And so therefore you need to learn it. And if you can't wrap your mind around that, then you may be better off just staying in the United States, or moving to a country where maybe they speak English, but those money requirements will be higher, like the UK or like Ireland, which doesn't have a language requirement. But it costs more money to live in those countries. Okay, so you understand, like, okay, um, I am not going to move to any Asian country because I can't meet the requirements, or some of them you cannot become citizens. You just can't. And I get it. I respect it. That's fine. I want to stay in Europe. Has always been like my thing, is to be in Europe. It's kind of halfway between continents, so I can fly to the United States. I can fly to to Asia. I can fly to Africa. I can fly to, it's very centrally located to me. So, so that is what I have been going through right now. I am making plans and I've been extremely busy because I don't want to go to France and have to look for a job in France. I want to get a job as a contractor, independent contractor, and be able to take that work with me and then be able to work my jobs in France. It's very hard to find companies, I think, especially with France, because France is going to take theirs. They're going to take that money. They're going to take those requirements and they're going to force the company that you work for in the United States, not force, but they're going to be like, hey, your people are working in France. We have money that we need to take, and we're going to take it from you so that we can cover this person as they continue to live in our country and use our social services. I have absolutely no problem with paying for social services because I know that paying for social services in France is going to give me more than what I would ever get in the United States if I paid for those same services in the United States. Healthcare in the United States is simply out of control. People are dying, and healthcare is for profit. And that I will cheerfully say, I don't care. I don't think that's political. I just think that that's life. You go to France and you are paying 30% of your salary, but then at the same time, you are getting access after 3 months of living there. You can apply and get your healthcare card, and then you can access the healthcare system in France. And like people are talking about like the cost of a visit like is incredibly low. When especially if you get this like add-on insurance and like you have to go in, you have like some kind of visit, and people are just like, yeah, the cost of my visit after the insurance people paid and then my gap and paid, it was like $1 or €1. And I'm thinking, this is freaking crazy. Like full stop. I there's no comparison. And I'm not going there because I have health issues or anything. I really don't, other than being overweight. I don't have any health issues. Maybe mental, but that can be easily cured by being in a country that isn't insane. And so, so yeah, so I'm looking very much looking forward to moving to France, which will occur most likely in January. And that's only because I have a contract that I'm working, that I will start working, and that contract ends. It's enough of a chunk of money where I'm like, I don't want to like immediately have to pay taxes on that contract being in the United States. And then once I move in January, and then the contract is paid in full, and then I have like some of that money from my old contract being immediately, they're taking income from that, and you know it's just too much. So I want to be able to start in January and be like, okay, I'm in January, I now have new contracts, I now have new money, and now I can start to budget, and this is what I'm going to pay, and this is what's going to go towards France, and et cetera, et cetera. I'm still trying to figure everything out. It is a lot of work to try to figure out everything. There are a lot of YouTube videos out there that I like to use, and I will try to put some in the link if you're thinking that France could be an option for you. If it's not, that's fine. This whole thing with Portugal, with the 5 years being increased to 10 years, found out this morning it failed with Parliament. So right now, everything is still 5 years. So you still have time. But the problem with Portugal is like it's so much bureaucracy because you have to have an appointment with the consulate in your area. You can't be like, oh yeah, I live in Los Angeles, but DC's got appointments. Then you fly all the way out to DC. They're going to be like, no, no, no. You have to be in the area. You have to go to the consulate in your designated area where you live. So I'm just like, okay, well, strike three. And it's really hard to get a visa appointment. That's another issue I was having with Portugal. Just the difficulty with getting an appointment. I was just like, you know what? Not my thing. I'm in a hurry. If you have longer period of time, and you can afford to like keep checking and checking and checking and get the appointment, I think Portugal is a beautiful country, beautiful place. If you can learn Portuguese their way, not like South American Portuguese, but like or like Brazil, but like their Portuguese, I think you could do it and it would be fine. And there are a lot of videos of people who've moved to Portugal who I trust who have had wonderful experiences. They're having beautiful experiences there. Beautiful country, lots of opportunities for you to be able to learn Portuguese, integrate into the culture, enjoy what Portugal has to offer, and be thankful that you're in a beautiful country like Portugal. I just can't hang for the time frame and like for like aren't they going to, change out the citizenship? It sounds like it's going to take a bit of time, a little extra time. Um, Not for me. I'm gonna stick with France, I think, unless something kind of nuts, bananas, ape crazy comes up. So that is what I have been working on, and I will keep you updated. I'm gonna start putting together more videos on like how I came to this conclusion, what are the YouTube videos that are helpful out there, and now that I kind of know what my departure date is, because I'm setting a date, um, how am I going to be able to get to that departure date? Because I'm starting to now work on like what's staying, what's going, how much is it going to cost, et cetera, et cetera. How am I putting together my money? There's a whole list of requirements for your visa that you need to meet as well when you're deciding that you want to move to France. Like there's like a list of things that you must be able to do in order to go in for your appointment and get your visa. But once you get it, like they flip that visa back to you so quick, and you've got 90 days to get out and get to France. So, oh, and one big thing is that I really wanted was that I need to mention is that I want to get my driver's license in Europe. Some countries like Italy, if you want to get a driver's license and you want to drive, you have to take it in Italian, and it is really hard. That is, you have to take the written test and you have to take the actual driving test where there's going to be somebody in the car and they're going to tell you what you need to do. You have to do it in Italian. It's very hard. I'm not feeling that. So originally I was thinking that, yeah, maybe I'll just go to another country first and then go to Italy. And then all this stuff started happening. Now, as it so happens, France has passed a law or or something where they said that there's, I think, like 17 US states they have a reciprocal agreement with, where if you live in one of those states, you can simply move to France. You don't have to take driver's tests, nothing, because that would be in French. Although in France, they let you bring an interpreter. I don't even want to bring an interpreter. I don't want to take the test. But you could just go in and simply surrender your driver's license in the United States, and they will exchange it for a French driver's license. It is good for 15 years. I will probably not be driving in 15 years. No, I will be settled. I will be happy, and I will not be driving. I will probably be taking public transportation and trains, but for now, when Coffee is younger and she's got the eyesight for it, she will be driving. Not all the time, but every now and again, or renting a car or whatever. So if driving is important to you, you're also going to want to look at those countries and see what the driving requirements are. If you are a US citizen, you are going there. Do they have a reciprocal agreement? Portugal does. It doesn't matter what state you're from. France is not reciprocal by country, it's reciprocal by US state if you're coming from the United States. So you have to be very careful, like if you're going to do that. Now, there are ways around that. I can talk about that in a later video. All right, so that is it for today. That is it for now. I'm going to go have lunch because I'm kind of hungry. But hopefully you got something out of this today. It'll help kind of like spark your juices if you're looking to move overseas and you're just not sure how to do it. I'm going to tell you right now, research, 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 then research some more, then research some more. Get on YouTube, find people who have like good videos that explain things to you. A lot of people are happy to explain things. Some of them are explaining things because they want you to then, retain them for their services, but you don't have to. They still give you a lot of really great information. Some people are just giving great information and they have nothing to sell. They're just giving you information because they're like, hey, I did it and I just want to share. So you find those people on YouTube and see what you can do about getting into community. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to end this. Again, my name is Coffee Brown, and this channel is called Coffee Spills the Tea. And I'm going to be spilling the tea about how you can get out of the United States if you're in the United States and move overseas. And in this case, I'll use myself as a test case for moving to France. So please like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't, so you can help with the algorithms, and we can get other like-minded people over here as well. And hit that notification bell. So every time I upload a video, you'll get that notification as well. Share this with your friends. Let's all start building this community. Okay, everybody have a wonderful day, and I will talk with you at some point in the future. Bye.